Good morning, everyone. If you can hear me, if someone can just indicate that everything's good and cushy and I'm not having any technical issues today, that would be a great start. Pip here on my own today. Michael's at his dad's, but we're still going to have fun and he can catch up on this later. So today we are drawing a really, really tricky illustration. I've been looking at this image for the last half an hour thinking, how am I going to start this? How am I going to tackle this? And I say I was looking at this image. I wasn't. I was looking at the images of our animals, and I was thinking, how on earth are we going to combine these three animals? Because they look so different. And when I read up on the description of what this animal is meant to look like, I just couldn't get it straight in my head. So I've added in a reference image of what the chimera looks like or is meant to look like. And I think we might use this to help us today because I think it's going to be really tough. I think this might be our most difficult drawing yet. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for joining me and thank you for letting me know you're here. So I nearly forgot about today being a bank holiday, so I must have scheduled this in not realising. So there's a good chance other people have forgotten as well. But as always with our lives, they stay up on our Facebook page unless Facebook just randomly removes them, which has happened in the past, so people can catch up anyway. So this is called, I was calling it a chimera, but it's pronounced chimera, I think, or chimera, but definitely chi. And it's a combination of two or more animals. But in this instance, this particular type that I was researching from Greek mythology is made up of a lion, a goat, and a snake, a serpent. Now, in Greek mythology, they're meant to breathe fire as well. So sometimes when you look up online for examples of chimeras, you might find them with dragon features as well. You can add them today if you want to. I think that's going to add in a whole other dimension. But what I did find really interesting, that everywhere I read, it's made up of, it says it's made up of a lioness and then the goat and the snake, not a lion. It says it's female, yet everywhere that I could find, all the statues of it, all the illustrations, it's depicted as a male lion with a mane. So make of that what you will. We can keep the mane in. I think I might keep the mane in. Or you could say, actually, I'm going to keep this more true to how it's meant to be and remove the mane so it looks more like a lioness. So should we get started? So I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to do this slightly different this week because I think, one, it's good to try different techniques, and two, I just didn't know where to start with this one. It's just, for me, it's the fact that the goat comes out of the middle of his back. I think that's really bizarre, and I think that would be really tricky to add onto this image, especially as the lion is looking upwards. I think it's going to be hard for us to get the angles right of the goat's head. So what I'm going to do is draw from this reference picture. So I'm going to sketch in the outline and the form, but then I'm going to flip back because this is just a more simplified image. It's not a photo, obviously, because I'd hate to think that something like this does exist in real life. And then we're going to add the details using the reference pictures, especially the snake, for example. We can get some really nice details of the scales and the tongue. So that's how I'm going to do it. You don't have to do it the same way. That's just how I'm going to do it today. So I'm going to start off, like I say, sketching from this reference picture. Where can I put my tablet? Okay, there. Very roughly. So I'm going to start with the lion's head. He's looking downwards. So I'm going to sketch in the rough shapes to begin with. The goat up here. And already I've got one. We need to start again. Need to get these proportions right. Hi, Joe. Good morning, everyone. Quiet one today. So roughly speaking, that's where my line starts and ends. And then the goat is coming out here. Again, very roughly speaking. And then I might change the position of the towel. I don't know. Because I don't really want him to block out the lion's body. I might bring it up higher. So the snake is kind of like that. Very, very rough sketching to begin with, just so I can get the basic forming, because there's a lot going on this one. And my snake tail isn't going to be as long as the one in the illustration. I've got the rough outline. Now I'm going to go back and just sort of refine it a bit more. And in this illustration, it's showing the goat's feet kind of hybrid with the lion's legs and feet. But again, in other illustrations, it wasn't shown that way. It was shown as completely a lion body, and then just the goat aspect was just coming out of his back. So or her back, I should say. It says it's female, doesn't it? Not sure what to do with my feet. I don't know whether to do them as the illustration or keep them as the lions. I think I might keep them as the lions. And what I'm going to do, because I don't like the way that they've shown the lion's feet in this illustration, I'm going to use my reference picture for that bit. I'll come back to them. Joe, this one promises to be a challenge. Well done, everyone, for taking part. Yeah, Joe, are you giving it a go? This is tricky today. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about the details of the face because I'm going to get them from the other photo of the lion. Try and get them a bit more realistic in style. Just want to make sure the positioning is correct. And like the alicorn last week, I'm going to spend more time, I think, just making sure I'm happy with the form before I add colour and stuff. I think I am guilty of rushing to that bit, mostly to keep up with you guys, to be fair. Now this goat aspect, he looks quite fearsome as well. I thought goats were quite sweet. They don't look too sweet in this picture. That's a very strong no from Joe. Is Michael with us today? No, unfortunately not. He's missing today. He's with his dad this morning, but he'll probably catch up on this later this afternoon. Yeah, I haven't got my little buddy with me today. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this goat. I'm more just using it for positioning from this illustration because I'm going to be working from a picture of Pancake the goat, which looks quite different from this one. I do like the way they sort of merged the fur. So rather than it just looking randomly plonked, it's like it's growing from. So I'm going to try and do that as well, I think. And I might do the same with the tail and make that look like the goat's fur. So I know we've looked up before when we're talking about our mythical creatures, are they good guys or the bad guys? Chimera is definitely a bad guy. When you read up about it from Greek mythology, quite terrifying. So I'm going to just jump to the snake now to do the head because the one in the illustration looks completely different to my reference image. So I'm going to use the reference image to try and get a more accurate illustration so it looks more realistic. I have no idea what type of snake is in my reference image. If anyone's a reptile expert, you know, do share. God, I'm really concentrating today. How is everyone else getting on so far? This is really tricky. So if you're struggling, you're not alone. Get some of the scale features in there. The larger scales around his face and around his mouth, they sort of mirror each other. And then the scales get smaller on the top side of his body, but on the bottom side of the body of the snake, I'll show you on the image. So you've got much smaller scales here, and then underneath, they're much bigger. And I don't even know if you call them scales, but it's like the reticulated bits here. So they look more like stripes than scales. And I'm going to be really cheeky and bring the fur right over up, because getting these scales in is going to take a lot of time, which again you can do, but if you're pushed for time like me, we can just improvise and change it to suit us. So there's the snake in. So now I'm going to go to my goat reference, because it looks nothing like the illustration that I've got. So Pancake, and look, we know this goat personally. So the farm school that Michael goes to, this is a Guernsey goat that I think was born. Yes, he was born there on Show Tuesday. That's why it's called Pancake. They've got a few Guernsey goats, which I think are quite rare, or I might be wrong on that. But I like that he's got some big horns, which I suppose adds to the fierceness of the creature, doesn't it? Oh, I think he's quite a cute goat. He doesn't look too fearsome. The snake and the lion will make up for that. We're going to keep his little beard in as well. I often find the eyes of the goats to be quite intimidating. Yeah, it's not so much on the reference image I've got. I think Pancake's eyes are all right. But I know what you mean, Joe. They can have a funny shape to them. It's like the pupil. In a lot of animals, they're like a cat. The pupil will look this way round. But in goats and sheep, they go this way round, which can look odd, I suppose. Okay, and then back to the lion image now to get some of the details in the lion. Now, luckily, it's simplified down in that because he's roaring, his eyes closed, so we haven't got to put that detail in. Get the nose in. We want to make his face look wrinkled up, like he's roaring. Obviously, we want to show those teeth. So we've got the big canines at the front, both top and bottom. He's always got, I keep calling him he because the reference image is certainly a male, but obviously, technically, this creature is female. But it was already complicated enough without me changing the image and trying to turn him into a female lion. And then I've got to try and get these feet right, which is going to be tricky because on my reference image, they're at a completely different angle. So again, making it as difficult for myself as possible here. So some of the toes sort of face onto us, really. You can't see the feet though, can you? Okay. How are we getting on, Hannah? Good. Can I post this after? Yeah, same as always. Wait for the evening post, we call it. When Joe puts up my completed illustration, and then you can put your completed one as well, and I'll give you some feedback. Right, yo. He's looking fairly fearsome, or she, sorry, keep saying. So I think I'm going to go in with some colour now. But where to start? There's just so many options here, isn't there? I think predominantly the body is going to be sort of the same golden brown colour that you see on the lion, because we've got that in our reference image with Pancake as well. So it kind of makes sense to do that. And I think I'll just have some darker points in the mane and like with these feathered areas here. So where the fur is longer and shaggier, I think I'll go a little bit darker there. So I'm going to start with this colour. This is called Gamboge. Usual name for colour. And yellow ochre, I think I'll use. Genuinely don't know where to start with this. Go with a line on the face. And you've got real big black brown lips as well. Oh, good start. I'm colouring quite sketchy as well. Again, because I'm using the watercolour, I can tidy it up when I put the water on it. But because there's so much going on here, I think it's important I get the colour down on the page. Where's my brown gone? I did the face so wrong. The face of the lion I am finding really, really tricky. I'm not going to lie. So I'm not particularly happy with the way mine's gone, but it's good for us to challenge ourselves. This is definitely the trickiest one we've done so far. Remember those longer pencil strokes when you're trying to depict longer fur as well. I think what looks so wrong here is that maybe I should have put the head further out this way. It looks like the head's attached directly to the legs and I haven't really left much room for the chest. It's all a learning curve, even for me. I'm switching between images all the time because obviously I can't see where the shadows and muscles should be on his legs from my illustration by looking at the photo of the lion because he's in a completely different stance. So this is really one of the reasons it's making it so challenging, is because we've merged the two different images, or 4 different images in this case. So it is tricky. Jump to the goat, get some details down there. There we go. It's got shorter fur along the top and then longer fur sort of underneath where his chin is. Can I ask you something, Hannah? Yes, go on, go ahead. I'll try my best to answer anyway. I'm sticking with the same colour for now, and then I think I'll just go in and add in some different tones and colours after. When we did the rhino, you had your left hand on the table. What was the leather thing on your arm? Oh, that's a bracelet. It's here. And it's got a silver plaque on it. You're wondering what it said? There you go. Now you know. I had that made for myself. Very rarely not wearing it. God, that was a long time ago. The rhino. You've been wondering all that time. I've noticed there's a bit of pink in the mouth and nose of the goat, so I'm going to add that. These lips, you can see a bit of pink there. I've forgotten which colour I was using now. Put it down. Whoops. You wear 2 necklace chains, but you're not allowed bracelets in cadets. What cadets is it you go to? Is it Army cadets or Sea cadets? Michael's interested in joining Sea cadets, I think. Our schedule's so packed at the moment, it's difficult to find the time for anything new. Air cadets. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's pretty cool. So I'm using the same colour that I've put on the goat's longer fur to bring him down into the lion's body. So that it looks like they're merging together rather than just plonked on top. And again, going with the long feathers up the tail, so it looks like part of the goat rather than the lion at that point. Oh, that's very cool. You actually have a squadron number. Oh, that is very cool. So what happens in Air Cadets? I'm going to throw this into the mix with Michael now, although Michael's not a fan of heights, so if it's anything like what it sounds like, he probably wouldn't want to do Air Cadets. He'd like the idea of it. Okay, not bad. You know, when we first started this, I thought this is going to be a nightmare. And it kind of has been, but I'm not too displeased with the results so far. I think it's working. There are lots of roles you can do if you wanted to be in the Royal Air Force. That's a very good point. That was quite a dismissive remark I made then, really, wasn't it? It's a bit like in the police force. There's so many different jobs within it. You don't have to be a police person. Right, we'll start with the black on the snake. Big beady eye. It's got like a ring of yellow going around that big pupil. I'm going to do that as well. Yep, that's true. Loads of different roles. You can be a pilot or a mechanic to fix planes or a nurse. I don't know if you know, Hannah, but we've got a careers week next week. And one of the interviews that I did last year with someone who's actually a childhood friend, knew him from when I was growing up, is a pilot. Not for the Air Force, though. He's a commercial airline pilot. So I interview him. I think his interview will be on Monday if you're interested to find out how he got into it all. He lives out in Canada now, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to figure out the colour of the snake. I think there's like a dark, like a foresty green going on, and then some paler yellow tones. So I think I'm going to go with these sort of colours. I don't know if you can see them very clearly, but that is a green. Give it a go. I think with the snake, the biggest way this is going to look good is getting the scales right, not rushing that. And then I'll go in with the black to sort of create some more defined black lines between the scales. Now, unfortunately, I've cut off the snake's body a bit much. Really, I wanted to see the patterning of because snakes obviously have like diamond patterning or stripes, and I've kind of made it a little bit tricky for myself, so I'm going to have to make it up as I go along. I'm pretty good at that. I'm just putting the yellow colour down as a base, and then I'll go over where I think the scales should be and the patterns. I'm actually going to make his tongue longer. I think I've shortchanged him with a short tongue. So I'm going to draw that in again because of my image. It's much longer. There we go. Better. And to make it shiny, I'm going to try and... Oh, I don't want a green tongue. I wanted a black tongue. To make it look shiny, I'm going to try and leave like a stripe of white. That makes sense. There we go. Now I'm going to keep hold of the black and go in and try and create some more defined definition with the scales. And then also there is black patterning as well. So some of the scales have got like a black stripe on them, especially around the eye. I'm really tempted to rush these scales, but I know if I spend a bit of time on them, it will definitely look better. I don't like doing repetitive things where it's all feels like the same thing over and over again. I'm not good at like drawing patterns. I think that's why I struggle with the bird feathers as well, because that feels a bit samey. So I'm just going to put some sort of black markings in, sort of equally spaced, to make it look like the patterning of the snake. That's not bad. Okay, we've got the most of it down now. So I think at this point, I'm just going to sort of try and put in some darker tones to make things stand out from the page a little bit more, and then give myself plenty of time with the painting as well. So I'm just going to go in with the black just to emphasize a couple of features. I feel like I need to do more on the lion, so I might spend a bit of time on that quickly. And put his little whiskery bits in. Claws as well. Definitely a very quiet one today, isn't it? I don't know if that's just because Michael's not here, or just thinner on numbers. And we haven't had Elliot burst through the door today. That's becoming a regular feature of our Mondays, isn't it? What people thinking of drawing for the make your own mythical creature? That's a good question. I don't think I'm going to be mixing 3 creatures together when I do mine. I don't know, and I don't know whether to do. Really, you want to think about sort of backstory for it as well. Is it going to be a good mythical creature, you know, fighting for good, or is it going to be a bad one like this one? And then that's what might determine what you end up drawing. So it's not going to be next week; it's going to be the week after. But on that vein, we are running a competition at the moment alongside Twinkle. And it is design your own mythical creature. Got this week to submit an entry via the Twinkle Home Educators Facebook site. And the winner, well, the third prize gets £100 Technology Triumphs voucher, second gets £250, and first prize gets £600, which would fund one of our GCSE level courses in full. So I would definitely recommend having a look and enter, because I think there's only been a couple of entries so far as well. So you've got a very good chance. Right, I'm giving myself 20 minutes with the water. See if I can make this look more realistic as I go. I'm going to start with the snake. Or his tongue specifically. What would you do, Joe, if you were designing a mythical creature? What animals would you combine? I think what might be nice is using animals that we haven't drawn yet. So whether it's been in the mythical creatures or in previous ones, maybe we just think of something that we haven't, because then that'll be an extra challenge, because you're painting something new, or drawing something new rather. So I keep thinking of when my son and I did a Pokemon project and we made our own Pokemon characters. Oh, that's cool. I guess that's really along the same lines, isn't it? Because I often look at Pokemon characters, because Michael's into that as well. And you can see where, like, Eevee, for example, reminds me of a fox. Mine was a turtle-mingo, a turtle bird, and a flamingo. I would say it would count as mythical, because you just have to create a mythical backstory for it. Not for the purpose of the competition, but it's basically any animals combined together, isn't it? A mythical creature. When you look at any of the animals in the myths, you can determine where the inspiration has come from. In this case, it's a snake, a goat, and a hen. I'm doing the finer detail bits with the smallest brush first of all, because I don't want to rush them. Social media support squirrel. I might use the squirrel as my base animal. Good call. And then maybe give it wings like an alicorn from its back. Oh, that'd be cool. So it's a flying squirrel, but a real flying squirrel, because effectively flying squirrels are gliding, aren't they? They're not actually flying. If Michael was to focus on his most favourite animals, red panda would make up the base, I think. Or certainly the tau, because that's what makes it most recognisable. That's something I would suggest when we do our own mythical creature, is make sure that you take the most recognisable characteristics from each of the animals and focus on. I think my base would be a unicorn. and have trees. Oh, you're not going to think of creating your own mythical creature though, Hannah? Just mix any animals together, create a completely new mythical creature. I'm going to switch to a slightly thicker paintbrush now because I'm going down into the bodies. So I don't need to be so precious about the details because I've done really, really fine detail. I've gone very quiet today, haven't I? I think it's just because it's taken all my concentration. This is definitely an achievement, I feel. Something completely new. Hannah, can I tell you what time I go to cadets and what time I come back? Oh, I wouldn't do that, Hannah. I was just, bear in mind, obviously, this is live on public, so people can see that information. Sometimes you want to be a bit guarded about information in case it's not always good to let people know what your movements are and stuff. How long does it, you could tell me how long it goes on for? How long do you spend at Sea Cadets? "10 minutes. Am I going to get it done in time?" I think it'll be by the skin of my teeth again. Air Cadets, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Oh, quite a decent amount of time then. That's good. I know from Michael and Elliot's activities and stuff, sometimes it can feel like you've spent more time travelling there than they actually spend in them. Will you be joining in with us, Hannah, next week when we do the careers fair? So we haven't got the draw along next week because of the careers fair. And there's going to be activities all week. So people from lots of different working backgrounds talking about their jobs and how they got their jobs and what their education looked like, all that sort of stuff. Just really interesting to to know, especially when you start thinking about what you want to do when you grow up. Still something that me and Joe joke about when we grow up. Got to get a wriggle on now if I want to get this line done in time. How can you join? So there's nothing really to join. Just on our main Facebook page, probably the bit where you're watching from this from, just make sure you follow the page, and all week, so each morning there's going to be like a post telling you what's happening that day, and all week there's going to be like recordings and stuff, and it will be scheduled up so you can see it. Again, you don't have to see it at the time that it launches. You can come back and visit it when it suits you. But yeah, there's lots of exciting, really cool jobs as well out there that people, I think, don't even know exist. So we're going to be talking to people. And also on the Thursday, it's all going to be talking about how you can get a job and how you can apply for jobs and write a CV and how to do an interview, all that sort of thing, which even is handy, not just for jobs, but if you ever think about going to college and things like that. So again, it will be on there for you to watch back. You don't have to be available Thursday to watch it. So hopefully something for everyone. And it's just gonna be up on our main page for people to look. You don't even have to join the event or anything. There isn't an event. It's just going to be running all week from the main page. So if you know anybody else that would want to check that out, let them know. I think on one of the days, Social Media Joe talks about what she does, because she doesn't just do our social media. She's got her own enterprise. And one of them, I talk about all the different jobs I did before I did Technology Triumphs, and even the part-time work I used to do when I was at school, and the journey I've been on. I used to work for the police before I trained as a teacher. And before that, I worked in the NHS. It launches, I think the first one will be 9 o'clock Monday. So about 8:30, there'll be a post. Well, we're going to share a timetable with this week, I think. Joe, if Joe's online, can let me know if that was right. So a timetable for the whole week will be available, so you can see what's coming up and see what you're interested in. And then each morning, about 8:30, I'll put a post up saying what's happening that day. We've even got an interview with a dancer and actor who danced in one of Ed Sheeran's music videos, which is pretty cool. Joe will be showcasing the timetable this Thursday. So on the main page, I'll show our timetable will go up, so you'll be able to see what is happening and when, on what days. I think I'm done. I think that's the best I can do with this one. And I'm quite pleasantly surprised. I think the snake's pretty cool. That was tough going. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to think very carefully about my own choice for the next one, which will be the last for this term. There we go. Hang on a second. Ugh. Yeah, I did the teeth. There we go. Just about see them. My goat, he looks so out of place there, doesn't he? The other two animals look fairly ferocious, and the goat almost looks like he's smiling. Oh well. There we go. The Chimera from Greek mythology. What a terrifying creature. And apparently female, even though he's got a lion's mane. Well, hopefully we get some other people joining or watch us back on playback. So if you did want feedback on your picture, just make sure that you upload it to the post that Joe will share between 6 and 9 p.m. And I'll make sure that I write the feedback this evening for you. But thanks for joining me, Hannah in particular, because she was watching me live, but anyone who's watching afterwards retrospectively as well. So not here next week because we're focusing on the careers week, but the following Monday we are back for the final one of our mythical creatures, which is all focused on designing your own. So come to that one with your reference images, or if you're not sure, you can always just copy along with what I do. So that's Monday the 15th. Am I right in thinking that? Yes, Monday the 15th is in 2 Mondays' time. That was a really tough one, I agree, Joe. Well done to everyone that joined in, myself included on that. I struggled with that one. Hope you have a lovely week. Looks like the sun's just creeping out behind the clouds now. So let's go make the most of it. Have a lovely one. See you again soon. Bye.